Good evening, great people. Good evening. Thank you so much. We want to welcome you to this show, The Well Show, at the place where we always meet every Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30. Where we walk together, we build one another. This is a journey where we say that we are walking together. You are part of us, we are part of you. So it's always an honor, it's a privilege to always see you coming in, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you so much, and God bless you. So as we start this show, I'm going to check those people who have already taken their seats. Anne and Omidi, thank you so much for coming in. Mercy Gadua from Mangu, welcome, thank you so much. Shalutanyo Kabi, thank you so much. Watching from Keno, thank you, God bless you. Who else can I see? This is great. Guys, tag, let me hear how is the sound, how is the video, so that we are able to move together. So I'm waiting to hear a comment. Keep tagging those people. Tag your friends. Tag your relatives. Leo itakuwa moto sana. And make sure you have somewhere to write, because we have to go beyond the excuses and reasons. We cannot remain the same. Something has to change. You cannot be attending to the Well Show and remain the same. No. If you're under this voice, some things have to align. Some things have to change. So I'm waiting to hear your comment about the sound, your comment about the video, and then we're going to go direct to our discussion tonight. So if you can drop a comment to us, how is the sound? How is video? I'll appreciate to see that comment. I'll appreciate. And also my director can always check from his side what is coming in. Thank you so much. Great. Naona huku watu wanasema a piece of cake. Yeah. And please make sure that I'm also getting a piece of cake. Thank you. My director is telling me the sound is okay, the video is okay from your comments. Thank you. Keep tagging one another. In this show, so that we can be able to flow together. Thank you so much. Great. Sound iko poa kabisa. Thank you, Anne. Sound iko poa. Beatrice, thank you for coming. Tag our brothers. By the way, Jesse alienda wapi? Mtu unaona Jesse hapo hivi, amwambie kahawa iko ready, wakuje ili tuweze kwenda pamoja. So Beatrice, make sure watu umewaleta kwa room. Anne, you're losing me. What's the issue? Is it the sound or the video? Hello, my director, can you see that? I hope now you're getting me right. Thank you so much. Let's get into today's discussion, and I want to go very slowly so that we are able to understand one another, because I have realized there are so many things that God has blessed us with. Ideas, even resources. But most of the time, what limits us to fulfill our purpose, it is the excuses that we give to ourselves. We have given ourselves so many reasons as to why we cannot progress. And tonight, that is one thing that we want to deal with. Giving reasons. Some reasons are not varied. Some reasons are varied, but they are based on a situation. And I think I have said so many times in this show that never define your life with a temporal situation. Never define your life with a temporal circumstance that you're going through in. So some of the reasons that we have find ourselves giving, they are good, but they are not the right reasons as to why you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And Tonight we want to move from that place. There are guys who are cut for greatness, but they have never enjoyed the greatness. Some of guys here should be very far, but they have never gotten to those levels because they keep convincing themselves. Either they are not good enough, either there are other people who are better than them. They have always given them excuses as to why they cannot be what they were created to be. And that's what we want to deal with. Remember last week we were talking about breaking the cycle. It's okay, you can break the cycle, but after you have broke those cycles, you need to move forth. That's why we said our last point is you need to advance. You need to take some steps. And some people have refused to take steps because of, the way we reason, the way we perceive life, the way we perceive ourselves, and the way we perceive our situation. And we think that is the end of life. So tonight we want to see how can we break those excuses that we have always been holding. How can we move far and above our excuses? I know each and every person, no one who is perfect, me included. But do you know what? The greatest thing that you can do is convincing yourself, I'm going to go beyond this reason. Are we together? I know I went up to Form 4, but I can do something to empower myself. I know probably I never gotten, higher education, but I can do something to better myself. I know I'm not good in this area, but I can learn. I know, but you cannot settle. This is where I was born and that is how I am. You cannot keep giving that reason. Mina kwanga hivi, mina ishingi hivi. It's okay, that's where you are now, but doesn't mean that's where you be tomorrow. I have always given this analogy, and it's good you get it if you have never heard it from me or probably have never thought of it. Look at the word yesterday, meaning jana. If you read the word yesterday, it doesn't have a letter O. I hope I'm clear there. If you take the word today, it has only one letter O. I'll tell you to represent what. If you write the word tomorrow, you'll find you have 3 letter O's. Are we together? Meaning what? Yesterday, there is no opportunity. No wonder that name does not bear in itself a letter O. Meaning, there is no opportunity to change what you went through, where you were brought, where you were born, where you grew, where you went to school. You cannot change that. And that is the reality. But do you know what? Today you have one opportunity, and the greatest opportunity in life is making the right decision, because the decisions you are going to make today are going to affect what you are going to do tomorrow. Decisions that you are making today will determine how good or how bad your future will be, will determine how well your future will be built or broken. So you cannot rely on what you went yesterday. And guys have always been holding on what they went through. Do you know, mimi wazazi wangu sijui walifanya hivi, I wish wazazi wangu walinipeleka shule. Those are excuses. They are okay. Sometimes they are okay. But do you know what? We cannot change that. And because God have given you a blessing of today, what are you doing about it? Can you make that decision to say, I want to shift and change my mind so that I can live a better, a fulfilling future? And that is tomorrow. Tomorrow you have 3 opportunities. And for you to enjoy the 3 opportunities that God have placed ahead of you, it determines on the kind of decisions that you're making tonight. And one of the biggest decisions we're going to make out of this show, we don't want to give excuses. I cannot stand before people. It's okay. But do you know what? You can learn. I cannot do business. Who said? Who set the standards? And I want to give you about 4 or 5 things or scenarios that make people to give excuses. 5 scenario, and I hope Reverend Mary Hiram, she's in the house because she does a good job. Thank you, Kevin. I'm seeing you. Maureen, favored Reverend from, if you allow me, from Anyanyuki, and you're doing a great job there. May God bless you. Can someone tag for me Reverend Mary Hiram? She's doing an amazing job. Yes. So please, someone who can be able to tag her and tag your friends as we get to these 5 scenarios. I hope I'm clear in terms of sound and in terms of video. Now, I was talking about the 5 scenarios that people have found themselves why they give reason. Number 1, it is a conditioned narrative that you are brought in. Let me repeat, a conditioned narrative that you are brought in. Do you know, when we are growing, there are certain phrases that we had, either from our parents, either from our older siblings, either from the society, and we took like is the true gospel, and it is shaped the way we believed we are. Hello? That is conditioned narrative. You know, you have exposed yourself as you're growing up. Probably your parents, by the way how they were, either they were bitter, either they didn't like you for one reason, and they told you you're going to amount to nothing. And you know, as you grow up, you thought, I cannot amount to anything. So the way we were brought up, the kind of narrative, the kind of the stories we were exposed to, they formed a certain picture of ourselves, and that formed a reason as to why we cannot progress. Because imagine if your parents told you that, or rather they told me, I cannot amount to something. What will happen is I cannot amount to anything, because that is a kind of narrative that I have gone through for the best of my life as much as I know. Hello? The conditioned narrative upbringing. And that is what, if there is hardest thing that we need to break, is breaking out of that, because it forms a better excuse as to why you cannot do things. When your parents, they told you that you're not good in academics, and you thought you're not good. I've seen parents telling their kids, let me take you to this course because I know you are not gifted academically. Are they together? And there was no any standard that was set for you. They even never pushed you to become the best that you could academically. Why? Because that is the kind of narrative that you have gone through and you think you can't. And the same thing you find that, you know, from the society. You look at your society, look at your village, and you find no one who went beyond these. And for you, when anytime you try to go beyond, that becomes a reason as to why you are failing. And that forms a base at why you cannot progress. And tonight, we need to rub off that narrative we have had all through, a negative narrative about our future, a negative narrative we have had. Even some is because of our teachers. We went to school, and probably for one reason or another, your teacher never liked you, and he told you cannot do well in mathematics, and that thing sinked into your mind. And every time you try to do mathematics, you're like, Mrs. Ifanya Mao, kwa nini? I was told I'm not good in it. I hope there is someone who can be able to associate with what I'm saying. Those narratives that we have gone through, the people who labeled us, we are bad, and we think we can never be good. Actually, I remember I met a young guy in a seminar, and as we're having a conversation, this boy came and said, do you know me, I'm waiting to finish school. I'm not waiting to get any grade because my parents call me a cow and I think I'm a cow. So in him, he knows he's a cow. It's only that he doesn't eat grass. And I was like, this guy, he doesn't know he's blessed, doesn't know he can do better. Those are the narrative you have gone through. And I want also to question those parents who are here. Please don't create a negative narrative, because it's going to condition the way your kids are going to behave. They're human, they're grown-up men and women who are 30, 40, 50, and they're trying to overcome what they were told when they were 10. Their parents here who probably they are fighting with something within, and it's the narrative they went through when they were young, and they have not been able to overcome it, and that become a reason as to why they cannot progress in life. Breaking a conditioned narrative, it is the most powerful thing we do. And how do you break these? You cannot rub a negative a negative narrative with another negative narrative. You have to bring a positive narrative that will speak positive about your job, that will seek progression in your life, and you start rubbing off the negative as you impact your mind with a positive, with something fresh that can push you to another level. Condition narrative upbringing. This has affected so many kids, so many people as they're walking, and you ask them, why don't you think you can do business? You look like you're good in business. No, mimi kwetu tufanyangi biashara. Sisi baba alijaribu akaanguka, madhe amejaribu ameanguka, so mimi hiyo line sitakangi kupitia. And probably even when they meet, that's the kind of narrative they talk. As we were not cut for business. Hakuna msana kwanga cut for business. Do you know what? Break the ceiling. Arise. above those conditional narratives that you are going through. Number two, why people, or rather, another scenario why people have always been giving reasons is because of fear. If you take the word fear, F-E-A-R, it is false evidence appearing real. Most of the time, people give reasons, na baadhi ukizisikiza poa, zina make sense. Zina make sense, by the way. But you know what I said? They always make sense for that particular moment. But every time you're giving a reason, that reason you should be able to see it 3, 4, 5 years. Is the reason still going to be valid? And when we talk about fear, there are people who live a fearful life. They don't believe that there is something good they can do and succeed. Every time is about fear. Every time is like, what if I try and fail? What if nichukue loan nilishindwa kulipa? What if nianze biashara alafu ishe? What if, the fear of the unknown. Life is for risk takers. My friend, wake up in the morning and take a risk. Don't use fear as an excuse, because every time, and I've said this time and again, that one weapon devil uses, he uses fear to capture our future. And what he does, he makes sure he become a prisoner of our past. Unajua ulienda shule au kumaliza, so hata ukienroli kole bado hautamaliza. He gives you records. You're always having records as to why you cannot progress. Hii job unaenda ku-apply, sijui kama utapata. Unajua last week uli-apply, hawakukuita mpaka interview. Why should you still apply for this? Kuna hiyo fear there of the unknown. What if they don't call me? We apply, even if it's 1,000 times, you keep applying. You keep applying. Probably one day, do you know Genius Book of Record, wata-invent, wata-come na place, waseme, ule mstation apply, do you know vacancies, do you know mwenye kona highest, do you know records of applying for a job. We are looking for such a... You do something until upata kumeandikwa bao ama kumeandikwa signboard. You cannot do this beyond this point. You keep trying. Wake up in the morning, you feel umeanza kuziwa sukuma wiki ama sausage. We jaribu tu. Sausage ikikataa, anza mayai. Mayai ikianza, start hot dogs. Don't give up. Don't fear to fail. Let me tell you, it's better for someone who will fail trying rather than someone who will fail for not trying. Uanze tu. I think I remember I said here this last week that, do you know what? If you have passion to go back to school, wake up very early in the morning, dress very well, go to one of your, your desired campus, just move around there, ask for papers, go back with them home and tell God, do you know what? I have started the first step of enrolling to a university. By doing what? Having papers. Don't live under fear. Usiogope. Hii maisha inataka wase wanajijaza. Unamit na landlord haujalipa, unasema, do you know what? Unamgotea tu unamwambia there's a certain check I'm waiting for. It's about to mature. Usijali. By the way, I'm thinking I can pay in 3 months in advance. You start even speaking in faith. Usiku in the place of fear. The place of, do you know what? I don't want, what if, wase watasemaje? There are men here, they are 35, they are 40, they are 30. Na uoga ati atakataliwa. Wewe uliza wa kwanza, akikataa uliza wa pili. Wa pili akataenda kwa watatu. Don't fear, uko tu pale tu. Me, umekaa single for 10 years. Single. How do you pay 1 bedroom? And you want to expand. How do you expand and you're still living in a single room? Go to that, at least utasemanga by then nilienda 2 bedroom nikashindwa kulipa. I tried. Now you're limiting yourself because of excuses that I don't know how I'm going to manage it. Sometimes, until you get into it, you'll never understand it. So get into it tonight. Break that ceiling of excuses as to why you cannot progress because of fear. There's a label unaweka kwa mind yako, what if, what if, what if. Do you know what? I also tell you, what if you try that business and succeed? What if you try that course you want to do and probably you get a first class honor? What if you start that job you want to start? What if you do that business you want to do? What if and you become the best, the best lady or the best woman in that business? What if? Who knows? The way you don't know what is the outcome. Remember we quoted here and we said 2 King and chapter 7. Those 4 guys with the leprosy. They said, if we stay here, we'll die. If you go, we'll die. What do you want? Watch her to move. Wacha God atupate mbele. Sometimes, I was trying to imagine that sometimes fulfilling our purpose, it is not based on our capacity, it's not based on our ability, it's not based on our understanding, it's not based on our planning, but it's based on that little effort we take to trust and telling God, you know what, I cannot do it on my own. Sometimes it's not about ability. Sometimes it's not about our capacity. There are things we have done. At the end of the day, we are shocked. Like, how did I do this? Because the only thing that God waits for is someone who can rise and move forth. Are we together? Guys, tonight, don't live under fear. Break that excuse of fear. I've told you, go try it. You're going to pay the school fees if you fail, and you'll say, I paid a worth school fees for what I'm going through today. Those guys you have seen successful in life, they have a story to give. I'm telling you, even just here where we are, for this show, for you guys to see as well and hear as well, there is a lot of preparation that happens. And I'm praying that you're going to get out of that fear. Sometimes we come here and we don't know whether net's going to frustrate us. But you know what? We are sure of we tried. And that is what you need to have. That you are rising and you're saying, I want to move far and beyond my excuses. Great. Hey, thank you. Eric is here. Hey, Baba Prince Evangelist. Praise God. Thank you. Hey, this is great. Thank you, people, for coming. Monica, thank you for coming. Thank you, Reverend Mary, I can see. And she's doing a good job. Lakini umekuja class kama umechelewa. So next time, make sure that you are early because you have missed a number of points. So ujue mshahara itakuja ikiwa nusu. Thank you. So I've said, conditional narrative upbringing. That is one scenario why people create excuses. Number 2, it is a place of fear. Number 3, comfort zone mentality. Comfort zone mentality. This has messed people. They want to leave a comfort zone. They say, I'm living according to my means. Sometimes don't limit your minds. Don't limit your minds. A comfort zone mentality is what people have used as an excuse. Kwa nini hujaamka mapema? Sina job. Are we together? Sina job. Kama hakuna job, that's, even if you don't have a job, that's not a reason why you should wake up late. You should wake up early and try to see what you can do with yourself. People have given all manner of reasons because they want to feel good. Life is not just about feeling good. Sometimes you have to pay the price to enjoy tomorrow. You can never gain if you're not paying the price today. Comfort mentality, kutosheleka, mimi niko sawa, nikipata food, nguo, even it has become a prayer item currently based on our current economy. Tukipata chakula, tupate rent, kama tunalipa rent, na food ni sawa. My friend, don't stay in that place. Guys, they are still driving. Guys are still building. Guys are still buying plots. Don't give that as a reason why you're not growing. People have refused to grow because they want to be in a comfort zone. Hii mwaka staki stress. By the way, hata nikwambia kama enda utafute positive stress because utagongwa na negative stress. A comfort zone mentality. You don't want to feel anything uncomfortable. You want everything in a flow. The guys, they're supposed to be employers. They're still being employed. Why? Because they are fearing. They want to live in that place of Mr. Kihaso ya kulipa tu mishahara. Mimi nataka ku make sure at 25 to 30 mishahara yangu imeingia, mimi nimelipa rent. Hivyo. Now mse gifted. You can do marvels. You can do exploits. But you are still there. Earning 30,000 comfortably because hautaki stress. Hautaki stress. A comfort zone mentality. That's another reason people are giving. And that's why people are not fulfilling their purposes. Because they always see like, hii maisha na kwa watu wengine. Biashara, kuna watu watengenezewa biashara. And we know how to convince ourselves. Kuna watu too gifted na kufanya hii kazi. Kuna watu gifted na kufanya IT. Kuna watu gifted. Excuses. And also excuses comes in even when you're dealing with, changing a character. Msela ka meeting Hey, kwani umechelewa? Hey, unajua nilikuwa na watoto natengeneza, nilikuwa na 1 2 3. And ladies, sorry to say this, but ladies are good at this. They always say, do you know, women have a lot of things to do. That is an excuse. Hakunaga time ya lady na men. All of them watch nenanga 24 hours per day. And that's a whole thing. We have given excuses. And because of these excuses, we have accommodated mediocrity life. And God has set us for excellence. But we have been growing in mediocrity through excuses. Kuna msee anaongeaga tu hivyo. He doesn't even watch his words or her words. At the end of the day, unamuliza, kuna anaongeaga hivyo. Imagine kuanga hivyo. That is laziness to change. And because you want to live in a comfort zone, you don't want to tell yourself, there are things I want to shake off and move on. There are things I need to terminate in my life. There are things I need to stop. That place of, forcing your body and forcing your mind to grow. If it can't grow, willingly, force it to grow. As they say, kingdom serveth violence and shall take it by violence. Sometimes you need to tell your mind you have to grow. If you cannot, grow willingly, we shall force you as a mind to grow. And that's a whole thing. And I pray tonight you'll be able to sit down and ask yourself, which area am I in a comfort zone? Which area can I be able just to adjust a bit so that I can be able to grow? And I've said growth is not easy. Growth is not easy. There's a lot of work need to be done. A lot of shift, a lot of change, a lot of commitment, a lot of persistence, a lot of things need to be done. If you have to break out of excuses and grow and fulfill. And you know what? We have always been unjust to ourselves. Look even from the Bible. Look at the Gospel of John chapter 5, verses 1 to 9. If you read that scripture very well, it's about this guy. He went into a pool and waiting. Every time he was waiting for an angel to come to stir the water. And anyone who gets there first get healed. And this man stayed there for 38 years. 38. And you know what? In his mind, he was very clear that that's where I'm going to get my healing. That had no problem. The place that there was a problem is a place of action and growing out of excuse. Because every time he would say that sinaga msawa kuniskuma, every time an angel come and stir water, akuna msawa kunipush. Every time someone comes, akuna msawa kunipush. And I always ask myself, hata kama alikuwa anatembea, if he was crawling, angekuwa amecrawl amefika katikati ya maji waiting for the angel there, but he would stay there. And he got to a mentality, I would call a syndrome of excuses. Alikuwa amegonjeka ugonjwa kupatiana visababu, to a place when Jesus asked him, do you want to get healed? He started giving stories. And majority of people are in this syndrome. There are guys you want to help, they start a story. Umemuliza naweza kusaidia aje? Unajua sasa mimi hata ukiniona hapa, mimi hata sikumaliza kole, mimi hata ukiniona hivi niko hivi hata tujalipa nyumba, mimi hata ukiniona hivi hatujakula siku 2, mimi hata ukiniona hivi watoto wangu sijui wako nyumbani. Msi amekuuliza opportunity moja, what can I do for you? Guys, tuko na syndrome ya excuses. Everywhere we go, we want to carry it, we want to to brand ourselves. And you know what? Excuses will never attract anything. Na msi akikurumia hata ikusaidia. There are guys, you don't need sympathy. You don't need it in your life. And excuses majority of the time, it pulls sympathy. Wasi wanaanza kukurumia. Na level yako si ya kurumiwa. Don't be like this man. He stayed there for 38 years. There are guys God is waiting. That place when you're going to dare. When to dare, arise and move. And say, me in this place of comfort zone, I'm tired. I want something that can challenge. And I always tell people, if the kind of life you're living today is not challenging you, it is not worth to be lived by you. Either unaishi maisha yenyewe. Because your own life, you should have an area that is, you're feeling strained. And that's how life is. If unamkaga ile masa unapenda, unalila masa unapenda, everything you are doing softly, that life is not worth to be lived by you. You need to have an area in your life that is pushing you so that you can desire to grow your mind, to grow your spirit, to grow even your network, to grow even your connection, because there is something within you that is pushing you. Please deal with comfort zone mentality. Usitosheleke. And probably look at your comfort zone mentality and your age. You're only 30. na umeanza kutosheleka na maisha, what will happen when you're 60? What will happen when you're 50? What will happen when you're 45? What is that thing that you can be able to say, do you know what? Tonight I'm going to create. And I've always tell people, if your life has no crisis, create one for yourself, a positive one, and try to manage it. By the time a real crisis will come, utakuwa umejua kuihandle, utakuwa kujua kudeal nayo. Create a positive crisis and manage it. That time you're trying to manage it, you're straining your mind, you're pushing your mind to grow. Comfort zone mentality has messed a lot of people. And I pray that we'll be able to grow ourselves out of the comfort zone mentality. A number 4 scenario why people give excuses is lack of self-discipline. Lack of self-discipline. There are people who have accommodated wrong characters, wrong friends, and they're always giving reasons as to why are you moving into sense. So, ni rafiki yangu na mimi nikimwacha hata nikasirikia. Unajua kama singemngojea tukienda fellowship ama kama singemngojea angefeel vibaya. My friend, you are entertaining someone who doesn't value time. You're entertaining someone who will always call you when you're doing coffee, and they will never call you when they're going for business to withdraw money. Self-discipline. Have boundaries and principles and standards. And have said time and again, never bend your standard to accommodate people. Please give them a hand and pull where you are. Don't go down where they are. You have paid a price to be where you are today. Self-discipline. And majority we have lacked self-discipline in one area or another. And we have used it as an excuse. I'm not good in this. What if all of us say we are not good in this? Who is good in it? That area that you find that there is a place where you need to grow discipline. You need to have discipline to deal with it. There are things that unafind them say giving excuses. Mimi kiwa idol lazima ni post. Si lazima. You can post something creative. Self-discipline is very key. And you'll never achieve your purpose. You'll never fulfill your purpose when you don't have self-discipline. And self-discipline is one of the greatest things you can use to break excuses. If you have to go beyond those excuses, you need self-discipline. Because self-discipline talks about self-determination. I'm determined. I know I'm not good at it, but I can learn. I know I'm not good at it, but I'm ready to persevere, to tolerance, to make sure that I'll go through the pain of acquiring that skill so that I can be better. I hope someone is going to arise today and say, after doing a self-evaluation and find this is an area that I need discipline to deal with it. They are characters. They are guys you cannot lend money. Because that is an area, it's a weak area for them. They will never return. They will never return. And every time you call them, they give you an excuse. Seen a job. In the first place, when you're a job, when you're borrowing money, so that you don't put your character in question, you need to ask yourself, how am I going to pay it? There are guys who their issue is, they'll give stories that they don't have evidence about it. There's something that this is a character, I need to deal with it. But you have always used it as an excuse as to why you cannot move ahead. There are guys who have lost great opportunity, great networks because of a character issue that you can deal with self-discipline. And I have stayed. Sometimes also don't pray for people to accommodate you. Pray to grow to where they are. I hope I'm clear there. That sometimes you don't have to pray for people to accommodate you. Please try to grow yourself to be where they are. That they'll be comfortable being with you and not accommodating you. Because that is an area of self-discipline. Majority of us have used some of our weakness and have always given it as an excuse as to why we cannot do what we're supposed to do. And everybody have a reason. I started by saying, no one is perfect. All of us have shortcomings in our life, but we cannot use those shortcomings not to fulfill our purpose, not to live a life of excellence. We only need to recognize them, work on them, change where we need, understand it's a process. It might take time, but eventually we'll get there. Don't live with a weakness and cover it. Deal with it. Don't use it as an excuse. Move forward. Those are some of the scenarios that most of the time we have used as a reason as to why we cannot grow. And every time when we want to grow, they will always come into our minds. And I pray as we move on, we'll be able to see how can I be able to redefine my life and move beyond those excuses that I have found myself. Now, I will only mention about 3 things why you need to break excuses tonight. Number 1 reason why you need to break it. After you have dealt with those, number 1 reason why you need to break excuses, so that you can maximize on your strength. If you want to maximize on your strength, you need to shut the door called excuses. If you want to see the best of you, if you want to see how blessed you are, how the deposit you are carrying, it will start manifesting that day when you'll close that door called excuses. Because excuses, they hold you that you cannot use what you have. So if you want to see the best in you, break that place and start seeing, maximizing the strength in you, the gifting in you. Majority of the guys, they never thought. And I remember, when you look at Sarah Carey, Dr. Sarah Carey and her song, I didn't know how I made it, but God made it through. God does not work alone. He look at someone who is ready, and then you become into partnership. And when you look down what you have been able to achieve, you'll be like, I didn't know that I can do this. I didn't know I can write a book. I didn't know I can start a business. Anytime you'll go beyond an excuse, I'm telling you, you'll birth a new thing. You'll give birth a new thing. That excuse that you're using, every time I always say this, any challenge will come into your life, either an excuse, either a lack. In it carries an opportunity. Any challenge, when you see it positive, when you handle it well, within it carries an opportunity. And majority of us have lost so many opportunity because of fearing a challenge, because of fearing to face an opportunity, or rather fearing to face a challenge and deal with it. Look at this. If you look at David and Goliath, there is no any, which connection, which correlation was there between the two. But you know what? When David faced that challenge and he saw an opportunity to give God an opportunity, to give God a chance to work in him, see what happened. Up to date, we use that as a place of a reference of what God can do. But do you know what? Before even David came, God was there. There are guys who tried to fight with Goliath. But that moment David came and he looked at this opportunity or this challenge as an opportunity. See what happened. That challenge you're finding tonight and you're using it as an excuse why you cannot do it, there is an opportunity into it. The strength you're carrying, the gifting you're carrying, the talent you're carrying, there will always be an excuse. But the moment you overcome these excuses, you'll be like, wow, I didn't believe I could do this. I didn't know that I can be able to achieve this. And tonight, why we need to go beyond the excuses so that we can maximize the gifting, the strength in us. Point number 2, why we need to grow beyond excuses, is so that we can become a well for others to enjoy what we have. Our life is not only our life alone. God has brought people into our life, and there are people who are waiting for you to grow. There are people who are waiting for you to start a business. And the moment you start a business, you employ another 4 or 5 people. Those people will eat and feed because you break that mentality of, going beyond that excuse that you thought you cannot do a business. That place where you're thinking of, doing something that is going to benefit other people. There are people who are perishing because of you not doing that thing, and you're giving excuse. There are people somewhere, there's someone waiting for you to make that right decision. And you know what? People will start drawing from you. There are people out there who are waiting for you. They are waiting for that day you'll make that decision. There are people who are waiting for you to start mentoring them. When you shape up your life, you have seen people and you look at them and you're wondering, what are you doing with your life? You're so much blessed. And people are waiting for that you are carrying. But you have remained selfish in a way because you don't want to grow beyond that excuse. Probably it is just aligning yourself. Probably it's just aligning your words. And then from there you'll start people coming in your life and you are shifting them. You are changing them. You're impacting them when you decide to grow beyond that excuse. And probably that excuse is the way you talk to people. You start shifting and changing the way you talk, the kind of words you use, and you start attracting people into your life. And as they're coming, probably you're gifted in area of business, and you start impacting them. The moment you go beyond that reason that you give people, just to live in a comfort zone, if you push yourself and break it, you start becoming a blessing to other people. The moment you start dealing with that fear as an excuse and do what is supposed to be done, and people start looking at you and they're saying, wow, this guy has done it. And they'll start celebrate you. They'll start enjoy what you're doing. And tonight I want to tell you, you think you're not important? There are people who are waiting for your time. And may you take your time tonight and go beyond that excuse and see how many people you're going to affect. And number 3, why we need to go beyond excuses is so that we can be able to fulfill our purpose on earth. When God created us, all of us, he had an intention for us. He had a plan for us. And the plan was to build us, to place us at a place of influence, to place us at a place of excellence. When we decide to break beyond that reason, that's reason of where I come from, and see a bigger God than your problem. See a God who have done it and can be able to do it. That is what God is looking for. Someone is going to align himself or herself and tell God, you know what? I want to live my purpose. They always say the richest place is in the grave. Why? Because those books that were not written, and guys were like, I don't have money to publish, those houses that were not built, those songs that were not written, those shows that were not done, they're there. And reason being, because someone had a reason. I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have who. But you know what? For you to fulfill that purpose, you need to grow. And people will look down and be able to say, here there is a legacy that was created. Here there is a guy who lived. And whatever he left behind, generation and generation, we look up to it and say, we thank God this guy was bold enough to go beyond excuses of generation, to go excuses of economy, to go beyond financial constraint, and stood and do what was right. And today we are celebrating because someone paid a price. And do you know what? When you walk in the path of your purpose, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes there is darkness. Sometimes there is a place where you feel giving up. But as long as you overcome that hardness, that giving up, I want to tell you the next bus stop is some people waiting for you with water and to celebrate you that you have covered this journey. You have become a mentor to us. You have become a hope to us. And that is what people are looking for. Tonight, may God help you. May God help me to grow beyond those excuses. We have held for so long, and we have lived a life that is not worth us. We have lived a life of mediocrity. We have lived a life of comfort zone because we have entertained a mind of excuses. Every time we have an excuse, may God help us to build those excuses. May God help us to sit down and be genuine with ourselves, because you cannot deal with what you don't know. May you be able to sit down and ask yourself, what excuses have I been holding on? What excuses have I been giving why I don't perform my work well? What reason have I been giving that I don't deal in my, with my assignment? What excuses have I been holding on? How can I be able to deal with them? And I've always said in this show that life is not an event, it's a process. Sometimes walking this process require patience with yourself. Sometimes it's quite out of tolerance with yourself. Sometimes it needs you to wake up in the morning even when you don't feel waking up. Sometimes it's required to go to that class even if you don't feel like. It is not easy to break an excuse syndrome. You need commitment. You need passion in living this life. And eventually, my brother, my sister, you celebrate one day that God gave us an opportunity to come and sit here and talk about going beyond excuses. And I've said, each and every person, me included, we have enough reason we can give as to why to give up into this life. But there is one reason why we cannot give. One positive reason that God have given us life. That is enough to go beyond the excuses. And that is my desire this evening, that will be able to shift our minds to a certain level, to a certain way of doing things. Thank you. Guys, for coming in. I'm trying to see your comments. Hey, Tabi Wamboi, my mom, thank you for coming in, representing Magogoni Thika. Thank you, pamoja sana. Hakuna reason sasa. From now moving ahead, we'll not be giving excuses as to why we have not been able to shift and to change our mind. So I'm trying to see new comments. Thank you, Rachel Amboi, coming in. Hey, Paulino Wangoi, thank you for coming in. Lea kutoka kule Kajiado County, thank you so much and God bless you. I hope this wisdom imefika mahali na itaweza kubadilisha minendo yetu. We will be a changed people, we'll be a changed generation, and we'll be able to manifest and be able to live the best that we can be. So I want to wish you a very blessed night as we move on, and I pray that we'll be able to implement one or two things that we have learned, and we always look down and be able to say thank you for listening, and not only listening but doing what I'm supposed to do. Every time God will give you an opportunity to hear something, it's a reason, or rather it's a moment for you to take a stock, because somewhere in life you require to go into your stock and withdraw something that will take you to the next level. So thank you so much. This is our last show this month. Next month, God willing, we are shaping our shows to a better, to a greater. So be on lookout from next week. We want to make sure that these shows are becoming better, addressing different diversity of our life. So continue praying for us, continue standing with us as we build these, and we know that as we get to the next month, we'll be able to bring you better, greater content that's going to affect our leadership, is going to affect our finances, is going to affect our families, and also going to affect how we can grow as an individual. That is my prayer, that's my desire, that the Well Show will be a place where each and every person can come in and they can draw water of life. So thank you so much. God bless you. Looking forward to see you on 1st of June. Keep sharing, keep tagging your friends. Talk about the Well Show. Let's make noise. Let's make sure that every show we are having new guests coming in. And I know we can do this together. We can grow together. God bless you. I love you so much. You're brilliant people. I love you. The Well Show fraternity. Love you. Shalom. Shalom.